Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Frequency Upgrade, where we do everything to upgrade our frequency, our vibration, feeling better, being better, and living better. So, today we talk about the ego versus the individual and the question, how selfish are you and how selfish can you be? Is it okay to be selfish and to think about yourself first and not about others? And what about the ego? We all think that the ego is something bad and we want less of it, but at the same time, we want to be who we are and follow our dreams in a very selfish way. We want selfishly to feel better and to be better. And so, how can we distinguish between the ego and the individual, and what is actually how can we bring this all together in alignment and evolve beyond the ego while nurturing who we truly are? So I think that the ego is basically a big what causes many problems, but not because the ego is bad, but because we direct our focus in a way that maybe is not always beneficial. So many of us, we are stuck in the ego, the egoic mind, and we are thinking in terms of ourself as an identity that is defined by the things that we possess, by the beliefs that we hold, that we have, and by the things that define who we are as a person in the world, how we behave, how we show up, our position, our status in society, and all of this is kind of defined by the ego and our thought, our mental image of who we think we are. And our mental image also of who we think that others see us. We want others to see us a certain way, and this is defined by our ego and this the self image that we have. And when we kind of awake and see through the illusion, through the veil, it is said that the ego is causing us to be blind, asleep, and kind of having this false identity, this false self identity. And once we detach from that, we try to let go of the ego and we kind of deny our own needs. We think we have to be selflessly helpful. So we help others. We don't pay attention to ourselves. How we don't pay attention to our well-being, to our own wishes, to our own desires, to our own needs, and we just go out into the world and help others and want them uh, want want them to be better so we can feel better. But eventually, this doesn't work because we are overextending ourselves. We are just depleting of all our inner energy and self-authorized living and power. So we end up denying ourselves by trying to be detached from our ego. But this doesn't work, and people get unhappy and uh, actually not becoming the greatest version, because when if you cannot be your greatest version yourself, you cannot help others to your fullest capacity. So to make this clear, there's the ego and there's the individual. So the ego is externalized living. The ego means to live from the outside to the inside. You look around, you see what you have, you see what you've got, you see who you are, and this is part of the overall image you have of yourself, and this defines your ego. And based on this self image, you act in a certain way. So you have a certain status in the society, in your family, in the people you deal with, your nationality, your religion, all these things that describe your social environment or who you are in the society. And all these elements define you, and you act based on them and compare yourself to others, where they are, if they are better or they are worse. Um, and you compare yourself also, your goals are often defined or influenced by these external things that we think we need and need to be or need to have. And this sets us in a very competitive mode to others. We are disconnected from ourselves, and also this then results in being disconnected to others because we see ourselves as only us, as who we are, based on these external things. And this is basically uh, the way most people live, and this causes us to be out of alignment, out of our true self power and self authorized living capabilities. And it's also cause of neediness. We need to be recognized by others for who we are, for all our status, and we feel kind of the pride and the image we have of ourselves, and we need this kind of feedback from others to grant our authority and to confirm our success. And basically this induces a hierarchy in our society of people having more money, more fame, more fortune, more whatever it is that society tells us that we need or need to have. And this hierarchy is everywhere, and we are playing along by constantly evaluating ourselves against others. And so the ego is very strong, and this goes up all the way to nations. And so we have ourselves, we have the family, we have the city we live in, the community, in the region, the country, and so on, the religion, all these kind of things. And we are constantly at war against everybody, against ourselves and against others. And you can see in the news daily what is happening because of that. So there's constant fight and friction and disharmony, distortion of anything you can think of. And so once we detach from that, we realize that this is not who we are, and more people awake. They wake up in a world that is not in alignment with who they are. They feel kind of disoriented, confused, surprised, and not knowing what caused this, or how to get out of this confusion, other than not paying attention to the ego. So they try to go in the path of complete self-denial and putting other people's needs above their needs. And this is the way they try to get away from the ego. But we also have the individual, and people always talk about saving or protecting the minority or any minority, but the biggest minority on the planet is the individual. And the individual is, in my opinion, not taken care of at all. And as you already guessed, it starts with yourself. You are the individual, and you have to take care of yourself. You are the minority here, and you have to take care of yourself. And what does it mean? What is the individual? What is the difference between the ego and the individual? So the individual uh, means living from the inside out, not from the outside in. Ego means to live from the outside in, and just makes you dependent. It makes you weak. It gives your power away to others. Whereas when you live from the inside out, when you nurture your individual, you are the power, you are the creator, and you are living a self-authorized life based on who you are and on what you are, on your true self. And you feel this true connection to yourself. This is a whereas the ego is a state of doing to feel better, to do the stuff, to get something. The individual is you already are enough. You already be enough. You feel that you are enough and you feel good, and then you act. And then the action becomes the fun and the natural result of feeling good and of feeling who you are and what you are. And this enables you to act uh, inspired to do this, to act on your core beliefs, on your intuition, and being inspired. And the result will be so much different than when you just act to please others or to please your self-image of whatever your ego dictates you. And so basically the individual is the absence of ego, and it is the true self that is coming forth, the true consciousness, the being enoughness, and the ego just disappears. It's not never disappearing completely, but it loses its power over you, and basically you don't need the ego to feel better, to define yourself. The ego just is a tool for you to get along in the world, but your individual energy radiates from the inside out into everything you're doing, and you don't need the ego to make yourself better, to disconnect from others so you can then put yourself into a higher position. You just by increasing your frequency and in increasing your individual light, you contribute to the world by being who you are and shining your own frequency, your own sound to the symphony of life. And the clearer and more strong this sound is, this light, this individual contribution, the better it is for everything, because you heal others by being healed, and you don't heal others, you don't help others by being broken yourself, by being ill, by being weak, by being in a by feeling bad. You have to feel good in order to make others feel better. And so this means you have to take care of yourself first. And how do you take care of yourself? By looking inside and living from the inside out, by looking deep inside and taking the time to put the world on pause and just be with yourself and be okay with it, to be who you are, and to know that you're good enough all the time, every time, and that you deserve everything you ever wanted, and that it's all there for you all the time, at any moment, and all that you need to do is to ask for it, and that you will get it. And you are enough, and you just need to find a way to express yourself in the present moment in the best possible way, and also to increase your capacity to experience life, which is in the now. It always happens now, and the more you live in the ego, you live in the past and in the future. But living as an individual, you live in the present moment, because you're in a state of being, a constant state of being you, who you are. And as this individualized consciousness that you are, you also realize that you are part of everything around you. And this means you need to have the capacity to live in the present moment and expand this capacity inside of you, going deeper and deeper, and expand more and more into you. So then your outer reality also expands, and the richness, the abundance, the wealth, the health, and all these things that you want and can potentially think of, that they come into your life by increasing the capacity inside of you. And this is a strong, self-authorized individual lighthouse radiating light and love, and not being a ego-centric person taking advantage of every situation, every person, everyone they encounter just for their own benefit, harming others and yourself, and lowering your own frequency, whereas the individual increases its frequency by living self-authorized, shining light, being in alignment, and just inspiring others to look inside themselves as well and living their highest potential. Then you create a ripple effect by you're increasing your own frequency, you increase the frequency of others, and they will then again increase the frequency of others, not by imposing them this frequency on others or telling others what to do, but just by being their best version and mirroring to others, reflecting to others what they can be. So all you need to do is be who you are and be more of it, and be deeper, be more you, and amplify this being you, this you-ness, this unique frequency. Amplify it and reflect and move on from there, just having a good time. And this is basically the difference, individual versus ego. So once you let go of your ego and realize you're not all this shiny stuff you think you were before, or you think you needed, you can still have any of that, but whatever is around you will never affect your true self, your self-worth. Also, people complaining about you, telling you what you should do or shouldn't do, all of this will stop mattering once you detach from your ego and let your individual come forth and shine bright. Because then you are able to grant everyone their own opinion without affecting your own life, and you actually start appreciating them for the full spectrum of different opinions, of different views on the world they give you. And so you have a better understanding, an expansion of your own capacity to understand and appreciate life and live a better life and become a better version of yourself in every given moment. And with this being said, I hope you got the point. I was maybe ranting a bit, or anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comment on that, ego versus individual, let me know. Any feedback or other topics you would like me to talk about in these frequency upgrades, let me know. And always work on your frequency. Feeling good is the most important thing you can achieve, and there's no need for any external events. You can feel good for no other reason than you can, and just practice that, feeling good. And with this being said, see you next time. Have a wonderful day, and bye.